hemp milk, sunflower seed milk, almond milk, soy milk. I'm just making things up now.
We've had a lot of different kinds.
We have. Yes. What does that mean?
Open up, you open up.
How do I look? Amazing. Thank you.
Hi, cutie.
It's our dog. Hi guys, I'm Hannah.
I'm Sadie.
And we're not straight.
And we have today a video that we've been talking about for a very long time, which is analogies for bisexuality. Mm-hmm. So this came up again recently because we just started watching Schitt's Creek. If you guys haven't watched Schitt's Creek, it's an incredible show. It's so funny. I think everything is like at the same time understated and over the top.
Yes,
somehow.
like the plot is over the top, but the humor is understated, so it like takes a second.
Fantastic.
And oh, it's so good.
It's so good. And one of the main characters on the show is pansexual, and David is his name, and he describes, he uses an analogy to explain pansexuality. So that was what prompted us thinking about this again. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna share two analogies that we've heard, and then we're gonna share two analogies that we have kind of tossed around a little bit, and we're gonna flesh them out, and then we're gonna rate them on a scale, and we're gonna share what we think is the best analogy and what are the drawbacks or the shortfalls of each of them. So
Yes.
here we go.
And if you have more that we don't cover in this video, tell us in the
Definitely
comments.
tell us. Yeah, analogies for bisexuality. So the first one that we ever heard was from a comment on this channel, actually. And it was a while back, and so we both watched this video. It's a video from Shannon Beveridge from like 8 or 9 years ago,
At
a long
least.
time.
Yeah.
She describes sexuality in terms of preferences for different fruits. And the ones she uses are bananas and apples. And
The idea being, most of us actually like both fruits and often just prefer one. Like some people might, if presented both, take an apple every time. But if someone were to ask like, what, do you not like bananas? They're like, no, I like bananas, I just probably would pick an apple. As in, they fall somewhere in the middle. And it's not just one or the other. You can like both. And most people probably do like both. There probably aren't that many people in the world who are like, I will never, ever eat an apple or banana.
yeah. And I don't think she mentions this, but we've talked about this. The idea that having a preference for both, like liking both, doesn't mean that when you have an apple, you are simultaneously like, I have to have a banana right now, right?
Right.
So I think that analogy is like a pretty solid one.
I would say
It's pretty good.
it maybe falls a little short in that last bit, but
You think?
well, I think it's not perfect.
It's certainly not perfect, but I think it's pretty decent analogy.
Do you think it's like Nespresso quality at-home coffee, or?
We were talking about rating these analogies on a scale of like instant coffee to like
barista, like trained barista.
cafe, like
Clover, what is it called? The Starbucks Clover brew press? Clover. Anyway, pretty good analogy, right? Pretty strong start.
out of 10, I would give that, let's say our number at the same time. 3, 2, 1, 7.5. Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
Generous rating over here.
I thought you were gonna go higher, so I thought I was lowballing it.
Well, I think it's a pretty simple analogy. Like, I think it's just like, it's two things. I think it supports the gender binary still.
Okay.
So I feel like there are some nuances that it misses. Okay.
Okay.
Second analogy was the one from Schitt's Creek. And in this analogy, the two of the characters are talking about their they have a hookup, and they are talking about it in terms of wine, so as to not have the awkward conversation about sexuality in a grocery store.
So they talk about red wine versus white wine and what you've historically preferred. And she's like, I've always been a red wine person and I thought that you were as well. And he was like, oh, I dabble in white wines. Sometimes I go for a rosé. Sometimes he like really just dives into it. And then she gets very confused.
Excuse us. She's chewing on her rubber ducky. Oh my god.
He is pansexual and he kind of stumbles into some roadblocks there because it gets very muddied when he tries to explain his interest in trans people and people who are like non-gender conforming. She is like totally lost, but she gets the idea that he doesn't just like red wine.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's where that analogy falls short, is that I don't know a lot about wine, admittedly, but like red wine, white wine, and rosé are like the three that I know of, and that doesn't really allow for much in between.
Yeah. I think that there are a few, like, I think that there are some like some variations. Like I think that like sparkling wines, it's not really, they are red wines and white wines, but they have like this extra element. So maybe that could be like gender non-conforming, like non-binary people who maybe present to the world a certain way or present to the world in like a, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a neutral, like a gender neutral or androgynous way. And that being the, like, the pink wine, what is it called? Rosé. I know what that's called. And the bubbles being like the, not on the like linear scale or whatever.
Or you could talk about like sangria or some sort of like,
yeah, like some sort of like
mixed drink,
mixed
status.
a mixed drink, like a wine spritzer. Is that a thing?
I've heard of that. That's definitely a thing I've heard of.
Or maybe there's like some sort of analogy in, can you drink louder? Maybe like the bottles versus cans. Like there's canned wine, there's boxed wine. Like that could, like maybe that's the packaging, like the how you present to the world, like what you, I don't know, like, I don't know, femme presenting people, masculine presenting people.
There could also be like the fruitiness or the dryness, like there's a lot to play with in like how the wine is made.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that this is a pretty good analogy with like some more nuance than the apples and bananas. But I do think that there are like some dead ends in the wine analogy. So I feel like this one is different for me. But I feel like it's also like a pretty decent one that falls short.
Yeah. I would maybe call this like a pour over. Like it's like tried and true. It gets the job done. It's not the fanciest thing we have. Like it's not a French press. But
I think French press is like below a pour over for me. Okay, now we're mixing our analogies.
Okay, point being, it's like
on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah?
I don't have a number. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
7.5.
Okay, so on average, slightly worse. The fruit, we didn't cover this, but I feel like they're all different kinds of fruits that could come into play.
That's
so
true.
It has like expansive ability.
Okay. Okay, so we got wine, we got fruit. Those are the two analogies we have heard in the past, and we have discussed a couple of analogies before. So I'm gonna let Hannah explain the first one, which we were discussing a few months ago.
With my brother.
Yeah.
So we were talking about milk and different kinds of milk and what kinds we prefer. And we were talking about lactose intolerance and about how everybody is a little bit lactose intolerant. Some people are in denial about it. In fact, most people are in denial about it. But we are all lactose intolerant. And we would all be better off if we maybe acknowledged that. Pretty sure you can see where this is going. We are all a little bit bisexual. And we would all be better off if we understood that and stopped denying it. And then I was thinking more about this, and the milk analogy can really just go on for years, because there's also that like whole milk versus skim milk idea, and then the bisexuals are like 1%, 2%. But then you have the cashew milk, oat milk, hemp milk. You have all these different kinds of varieties, and most people prefer something. A lot of people drink all different kinds. Mm-hmm. I just think it kind of has endless possibilities.
I like this one. I think it's a good one. I feel like there's more to flesh out here, but we haven't talked about it a ton.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that there is kind of like a linear scale that we could align everybody on. Mm-hmm. But that you can also step outside of that linear scale, that it doesn't have to be something that everybody is familiar with, that's not like, thank you, that isn't just the dairy milk or isn't just the cow's milk or whatever. Mm-hmm. It could be, oat milk or cashew milk or hemp milk, sunflower seed milk, almond milk, soy milk. I'm just making things up now.
We've had a lot of different kinds.
We have. Yes. What does that mean?
It sounds like most of our analogies have to do with like consumables.
Yeah. So we were talking about this too. And before we move on to the next one, let's give this one a rating.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
9.
Ooh.
Feeling optimistic about that one. And I know we didn't get all the way into it, but it kind of it tickles me a little bit, because I feel like the lactose intolerant point just really drives it home.
Yeah.
Because that's a universal. I'm making that statement. That's a universal thing.
Yeah.
Like, some people don't really like fruit. Some people don't really drink wine. But everyone's lactose intolerant.
So it's like a quality of ourselves. It's like an inherent, like...
Yeah.
So everybody has a sexuality.
Yeah.
Just like we all have an experience of, like, having this characteristic of ourselves, like this... Not an experience of milk.
I'm just giving you shit.
But we all do have that. So it's not like it's not just something that we want, that we, like we're interested in. It's something that is inherent to ourselves, like sexuality.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Last one. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about this morning, and I'm gonna put it out there. We're gonna talk about it for a minute, but then we're gonna leave it to you guys to add your thoughts in the comments about this and help us kind of flesh this one out, because I think this one could go somewhere. I just don't know exactly where, and I would love to hear where you think it could go. Yeah. So we were talking about the fact that everybody wears clothes, right?
Most people
wear clothes.
Shout out to the nudists. Stay strong.
I heard a person on NPR the other day who called in from a nudist convention. And he was, at the time, it was on Wait, Don't Tell Me, so he called in to be a participant on the show, and they asked him...
naked?
They asked him, are you nude right now? He said, of course.
Of course. I love that so much.
Okay, so pretty much everybody wears clothes, right? And we all have an experience with clothes. We either we choose our clothes, sometimes we don't choose our clothes, sometimes they're passed on to us from older generations, or sometimes we are really into a certain kind of clothes, but we all have this experience with clothes. So it's not something that is just like a choice, like we like wine or we like fruit or certain types or whatever, but it is something that we have, that is a universal experience. And I'm thinking of the fact that we all get to choose how we present ourselves to the world through our clothes to varying degrees. And some of us are really passionate about how we present ourselves through our clothes, and some of us are less passionate about how we present ourselves through our clothes. And that's as far as I've gotten.
I really like this idea. I think that it's you would have to be pretty gentle with how you flesh it out, because it's already so closely tied to like your feminine masculine presentation. It seems that the analogy could get kind of confusing, or maybe that's part of it. Maybe like the way you dress,
really surface level.
Maybe like dressing androgynously is that part of the analogy.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and then I'm also thinking about the fact that this is like pretty classist too. Like Like there is an element, and I don't know how that plays into it, or maybe that just kind of negates this whole argument of an analogy. But I'm thinking that a lot of people don't have the choice to choose how they present themselves through their clothes, or don't have as much a choice.
Like compulsory heteronormativity, is that what you're saying?
No, I was still just stuck on the literal fact that this analogy is a little bit classist.
Oh.
Some people don't have
Got it.
have the financial means to be able to, choose from whatever kind of clothing they want and whatever kind of presentation they would like to have.
But I'm drawing the parallel to maybe
that
can represent the people who, like, for whatever reason in their current lifestyle, culture, surroundings, can't present themselves as they would like to, or come out of the closet and be who they would like to be and wear what they would prefer to wear.
Ooh, interesting. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, and then there's like scales of, I don't know what the scale would be from like preference of clothing. Maybe that's the thing, is like it's not a linear scale anymore.
It's infinite.
There's less of a need to identify yourself on, do you have a preference for one of these two genders in a gender binary, and maybe it's a lot more open, and maybe it's a little bit more circular, like the wine idea, rather than having just two options. There are infinite options.
There are not like two styles of clothing. They're not like, it's not like you pick jeans or sweatpants. It's like
that's what I do every day.
Jeans, sweatpants, leggings, skirts, dresses. It's everything.
Yeah,
I don't hate that.
and different like styles of those within that, which maybe represents the like uniqueness of individuality, and how every person is different, and no one gay person is exactly like another gay person. No one straight person has the exact same experience of sexuality as another straight person. Like we all have these different nuanced experiences.
Maybe this is like the analogy of the future.
Yes, the analogy of it.
This is like the coffee bean analogy.
I feel like we're mixing metaphors still. I feel like that one.
You wanted to put it on a scale of coffee.
I wanted to put it on a scale of coffee, but I just like coffee.
If you make the analogy very limited and simple, or you talk about gender presentation, then it really just is kind of via
instant coffee.
Okay,
so on a scale of 1 to 10. Ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1.
7.5.
Ooh, okay.
I think I need to understand it better.
I think I do too, but I came up with it, so I wanted to give it a higher rating.
Fair enough. Okay, before we go, I want to show you our dog.
She was so good during this video. She woke up and played by herself for a couple minutes and then went back to sleep.
You heard the squeaky toys. Pup date. Let's call this a pup date.
Oh my god, a pup date.
Look at her. Say hi. Hi, Mama.
Hi, cutie. Are you pretty tired?
She's got little grunties.
She sounds like a pig when she wakes up.
She also looks like a pig, like all the time.
Look in the camera.
Say hi. Oh. We're gonna play with her now for the rest of our day. For the rest of our lives, I guess.
Oh, she's going right back to sleep. We gotta go.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Say bye.